Hi, I'm not as shameless as I look. It's not. It's supposed to be a vulnerable story, and supposed to, never. I deflect with humor, as you can see. But Emma's introduction was borderline triggering. So they needed a Latin American. What did you want? A Spanish? Half Spanish, half Latin American, a mix of something. I don't know if you can guess where I'm from. Do you want to play this game?
Yes.
I don't get offended. I'm not going to say where you're from because I know you. Want to try?
Colombia.
Venezuela. I like Venezuela. Brazil. Who said Brazil is a Brazilian? No? Portuguese. You recognize the accent, doesn't count. I knew it, I heard there's a Portuguese in here. Yes, I am Brazilian, among other things. And like many of you here, because who here is not Dutch, say who again? Raise your hands. Who here comes from Groningen? Foreigners. Frisians. No Frisians. Shut up. No Frisians in the house. See, the Groningans happy. But that's the beauty of Wageningen, right? When we arrive here, we think we're all very exotic. Kind of like it, admit it. People come to you and say, "Where are you from?" In Venezuelan. I love when people think I'm Venezuelan. And you kind of like it, but after a while, it started to change a little bit, at least for me. I have a confession. I've been here for 13 years. Never left this city. Studied here, did my PhD here. And like I said at the beginning, it's almost fun. You like being different. You like being. But after, I don't know where, if there's a timeline, most likely it's heavily personal, but somewhere you start to get annoyed when people tell you, "Why you're here? You come from Brazil, that's so sunny." The same, if you're born in the range of latitude, you have to endure this question, "What are you doing here? It's so cold here." I said, "Yes, we like to suffer, that's why we came." And why are you here? You have an option, it's a free country, they keep saying this to you, get out of here. But it starts annoying you at a certain moment. And even the very innocent question that you yourself kept asking since the beginning, "Where are you from? Where are you from? Are you from Groningen? Where are you from?" You stopped. This starts annoying you. And one thing, this story is one of the many PhD courses. It's a fun way to learn resilience, not in science, but in enduring stupid people. But this course started differently. The instructor asked, "What's your nationality?" So he went like this, "What's your nationality?" "Your nationality." "No, your nationality." "Your nationality." "Portugal." And then he said, "I said Spain," which is true. I said, "Today I will go on a technicality. My nationality, the one I use, at least technically here, is Spanish." So I said Spain, Spanish. He went on and on and on. And I felt for a brief moment that I was not going to be challenged. My sense of identity was not going to be challenged. I felt European, entitled. Safe. I'm kind of white, kind of a man, kind of European, I'm kind of everything. Today, half a brain, so if I blank out halfway through it, forgive me. So I was feeling great until one girl walks towards me in the next break. You have to say where we were from, introduce each other, right? Ourselves to each other. And she came to me, the Dutchest girl on the planet, Marijke most likely was her name. She comes to me and she says, "I never met a Spaniard with such a good English." And I wasn't torn between, that bitch gave me a compliment. And I was already in that phase that you start to, it's a crossing between, you start getting annoyed by the question, "Where are you from?" And it intersects with, I'm starting to get fed up with Dutch people. Nothing against the Dutch, but you live in here, so after 6 months, whatever nationality is too much for you, right? So in that intersection, you can imagine what I was thinking about her in Dutch, because I was learning Dutch at the moment. And I said, "Oh, thank you, what do you say?" Nothing. And I went on with the course, cursing the Dutch and remembering all the times and all the questions I've got. Number one was, during a date, a guy asked me if I needed a pistol to walk around my hometown. I wish I had a pistol at that moment. Another one, who was it? In a party, he just came to me and said, "Why don't you people solve the problem of the Amazon? I cannot understand it." I was like, "Is that a joke?" He said, "No, why don't you fix it?" What do you answer? It was a PhD course as well, another one. We are supposed to be highly educated people. We understand the current elections everywhere in Europe now, right? This was like 6 years ago. And what was the other one? Well, if I forgot, don't worry, I'm not going to lose you. I might lose the story. That was the fun one about the prostitution. The guy asked me, I promise you, in a dinner, can you explain to me why there are so many Brazilian travestites working as prostitutes? He used the word travestite. At that moment, I was a little bit fed up, and I said, well, everybody has to start at a certain point, right? My first 2 years in Europe were very difficult. And he laughed, and I said, I'm not joking. How do you think I survived until I got a PhD contract? These are the things that were crossing my mind, I was hating that woman. Hating her completely. In her nationality, her passport, her tampous, Santa Claus, Zwarte Piet. He was still black at the time. That's how old I am. And it was a break. I was still ruminating the things. I couldn't focus. I still don't remember what the instructor said. I think it was about scientific writing. I was hating her. And then a Chinese guy comes to me to the break. And he said, sorry, I always wanted to ask this question to someone. I said, oh, what do you ask? This one at least comes from the other side of the planet. I said, what? Is that true that people do siesta in Spain? What do you do? That broke me. You can imagine what I wanted to ask, right? Something about cooking, eating, and dogs, but I didn't. I took the high road. I gave the correct answer. There's always a Spaniard in the room, you can ask them. I'm half Spanish, so my answer doesn't count. I gave the polite answer, and I went back, reducing myself to my chair, and stopped hating Marijke at this point, because assumptions, stupid questions, whatever can come from everywhere. And after a while, living abroad, living in another country, dating across cultures, it's very nice, but it can become very heavy. And that introduced me back to my place, but back to a conversation I had with my uncle. My uncle is a proud immigrant. I come from a family of immigrants. They just did the opposite. They would like to forget there was a war on this continent once upon a time, and people had to flee, to the other side of the Atlantic. I happened to do the opposite direction 2 generations later. But my uncle was once, while visiting him in the birthplace of my father, which was not as emotional at all. My father was born here, that's okay. But what was very emotional for me, and I hope I don't cry now, or I do, that will be a show for you. What my uncle told me, and we were walking along the river in his village in the middle of fucking nowhere in northwest Spain. A part of Spain that wants to be Portuguese, by the way, if you want to take it. Don't take me as an example. They might say no. And he told me, son, an immigrant loses 2 countries. The one you leave behind, and the one who will never be yours. Thank you, I was about to cry. And that is the life of an immigrant. It's not only living in between things, it's realizing you have 2 losses. You also have still something. Not really twice, not really half. You try to make a whole out of all those pieces. But I learned a few years ago that there's only one way to do it. It is to make your own country. And mine is also in this place. Thank you very much.
My favorite story. Very true. Like I live in 3 countries for 3 decades. I know. I live Thank you for noticing. But like you're not part of any of them. You have to kind of find your own family, which is Iago is part of my family.
Don't make me cry more.
You have the uncle that you can't control. It was funny, but when Iago was speaking, I realized this was the way to edit myself. But Sparta Peak, of course, we all know Sparta Peak, but I moved here 14 years ago. Sparta Peak was definitely smart. But the funny thing about it, I don't know how I didn't know about this. I had no idea of the concept of Sinterklaas. Like, none. And I thought you might enjoy the moment that I discovered Sinterklaas for the first time. Because I was sitting in a cafe in Ada with my Chinese housemate, Dao Hong, and we were sitting there having coffee. It was a Saturday in the market. Now, keep in mind that neither of us knew anything about it. And I'm sitting there drinking coffee, and as I'm sitting kind of with my back to the road, there's the square in front of us, and Dao Hong is facing the road behind us, and he's drinking his coffee, and as he does so, his eyes start to get wider and wider. Now, Dao Hong is one of these lovely human beings who I have questions about how he has survived this long on the planet. He got himself into so much trouble over the years for the most cute, innocent things, but that's a story for a different day. But as his eyes kind of expanded and expanded, I said, Dao Hong, what's wrong with you? And he goes, something very strange is happening. And the only thing I could think was like, well, yeah, you think everything's strange, love. Like, it's... So, to amuse him, I turned around, which point my eyes started to widen substantially. Because what was faced with was a white bishop walking down the street, followed by, I reckon, 20, 30, 40 white people in blackface. And at this point, you sit there going, what do you do in that situation? So along they're coming, and they're like throwing things and so on, and I'm like, I don't know if this is like, what is going on? And Dao Hong goes, is that normal? And I went, I don't think I'm the person to ask. I was like, I have no idea what's happening. And I lived in an international household, so there's no one I could ask. I went back and said, hey, do you guys know about a bishop and a load of black slaves? And they went, no. Like, what do you mean? I was in the center of Ada, and there was a bishop and a load of black slaves, and everyone was like, well, don't be so ridiculous. It's not a thing. I was like, no, I promise you. And Dao Hong was sitting there going, no, it was really real. And they're like, well, what do you? I don't know. He had a big, like, little Bo Peep's, the hook. I don't know if he was a sheep herder. Maybe he was a sheep herder. Maybe he wasn't a bishop. Maybe he was both. And they're like, what do you mean by black slaves? I was like, well, they weren't actually black. I was like, I don't know. Anyway, I went in on Monday morning and I found the first Dutch classmate I could have said, I need to talk to you about did anything happen over the weekend that is significant? And she went, Sinterklaas arrived. I went, who's that? And she went, oh. You don't know Sinterklaas. I went, does he happen to be a bishop? Or possibly a sheep herder? With a lot of slaves? She goes, oh, they're not slaves. I was like, they're definitely okay. She goes, no, they came down the chimney. I went, I was like, I've been down chimneys by accident, and I promise you I did not come out looking like that. And she went, okay. Anyway, I said, okay, I said, is that like that's not? I said, that's not okay. You know that, right? She goes, yeah, we all know it. I was like, and you don't do anything about it? She goes, no. I was like, why not? She went, do it normal. And I was like, not normal. Not normal. Anyway, eventually, after I had given up on the argument of it, and luckily things have changed, but I gave up on the argument. I was like, I tried, and I kept trying each year, making it more and more ridiculous. Anyway, I said to her, I was like, is this like your version of like Santa Claus? At which point she took me very seriously, more offensive than the slave comment. She goes, no, certainly not. They are completely different. I went, and she went, no. I said, well, can you show me what's the difference between the two? She goes, don't worry, I will show you. And we were in one of those little study rooms. And she opened Google. And she opened Google. She Googled Santa Claus. And she Googled Sinterklaas. She pulled up 2 pictures and she goes, look! And I went, what? She goes, they have different hats. And that was the best comeback. Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for your next story time?